street without the cocaine. Make more money than the whole dope game. People talking like they really know things, but watch me blow up, no propane. I'll start flipping the dub. I ain't finna give up. I'm finna get this shit, bruh, cause I ain't been living enough. These niggas think that I'm stuck. These corners finna get cut. Life's a bitch, and that bitch do not give a fuck. Listen, I was about to just rap that and then jump straight into the intro, but I just saw some Thor information. I had to make sure everything's straight if I was gonna have to stop the video for a second. But what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back with Game of Thrones, and we got history and lore for season 5. Now if you seen the finale to season 5, you already know how I was rocking, man. I had to scan the environment, make sure everything's straight, make sure everything is in cement or not. So I watched the first 2 episodes to season 6, but I didn't spam 2 seasons like I did last time, bro. Like, I couldn't wait, bro. Anytime I was about to just go into I was gonna go from one episode and just do the history lore after, I kept going to one episode after the other, bro. But I'm ready to jump into this. But before you do, make sure you thumbs up and subscribe, and let's get it. Throw on the glasses because I'm blind as hell. Yeah, even in the history and lores, bro, I edited, you know what I'm saying, I think it's last season. I can only drink, bro. I can't eat, because even in history and lores, bro, I was like, I hate the chewing, dude. I don't know if that would have just been a me thing, but, bro, I had to try to edit out the eating the best I can, bro.
Most cities are built on stone.
Or at least when it came to the burgers and fries. So.
Or more specifically, their cargo. Slaves who rose up against their Valyrian captors and seized the helms of the convoy. Of all crimes, Valyria punished rebellion most severely. The slaves faced not execution, but the Valyrian mines or labor camps in the most remote and savage colonies, if recaptured. And few corners of the world can long remain hidden from Dragonback. However, our histories claim that a group of slave women prophesied the slaves would find shelter in a distant lagoon behind a wall of pine-clad hills and sea stones, where the frequent fogs would help hide the refugees from the eyes of dragon riders passing overhead. And so it proved. Because they had risked their lives in the name of freedom, the mothers and fathers of the new city vowed that no man, woman, or child in Braavos should ever be a slave. This is the first law of Braavos, engraved in stone on the arch that spans the long canal. For over 100 years, Braavos hid itself from the eyes of the world, who called it the Secret City. Using a dye derived from a local snail, our captains stained their sails purple to hide their stolen Valyrian ships. Our merchants carried false charts and lied when questioned about their home port. Eventually, one Sea Lord, our elected ruler, decided enough time had passed and initiated the unmasking of Braavos to the world and to Valyria. Of course, it helped that the Iron Bank made handsome restitution to the Dragon Lords for the stolen ships, whilst of course refusing to pay for the value of the slaves themselves. The anniversary of the unmasking is celebrated every year in Braavos with 10 days of feasting and masked revelry, a festival like none other in the
Sure, let me get a couple plays, man.
At midnight on the 10th day, when the Titan roars and tens of thousands of celebrants remove their masks as one. Freed of the constraints of secrecy, Braavos quickly grew into the wealthiest and most powerful of the free cities, and, one could argue, the most beautiful.
Yeah, I was just about to say the shit. Same kind of cold, man.
Strange beasts and birds, to the imposing Palace of Justice and the aqueduct we call the Sweetwater River that bears fresh water from the mainland. Braavos is without rival in either engineering or elegance. The temples of Braavos are also famed throughout the world and wondrous to behold. Descended from 100 different peoples, the Braavosi honor 100 different gods. The Temple of the Moon Singers is the foremost of these, being the faith of the slave women whose prophecies led our ancestors here. The Lord of Light has a great temple as well, for his worshippers have grown ever more numerous in the past 100 years. Yet less numerous, and even some forgotten faiths still have temples deep in the heart of the city, on the Isle of the Gods. But the beauty of Braavos is not only in her buildings. Braavosi swordsmanship is renowned throughout the world. Our Bravos eschew the armor and long swords of the Westerosi knights, preferring speed, agility, and slender blades. The greatest Bravos call themselves water dancers, after the custom of dueling upon the moon pool near the Sea Lord's palace. By tradition, the greatest of all the Bravos is the First Sword, who commands the personal guard of the Sea Lord and protects his person at all public events. Once chosen, Sea Lords serve for life. Inevitably, there are always those who wish to cut that life short to effect some change in policy. Though not even the First Swords are the true guardians of Braavos. That honor goes to the Titan, who protects the entrance to the harbor.
What about a statue there?
With a proud head and fiery eyes looming close to 400 feet above the sea, the Titan is a fortress of a kind never seen before or since. His eyes are huge beacon fires, lighting the way for returning ships into the lagoon. Within his bronze body are halls and chambers, murder holes and arrow slits.
Oh shit.
Enemy ships can be steered onto the rocks by the
I ain't even peep all that when they pulled up.
and stones and pots of burning pitch can be dropped onto the decks of any that attempt to pass between the Titan's legs without leave. This has seldom been necessary, however. Not since the Century of Blood has any enemy been so rash as to attempt to provoke the Titan's wrath. Should an enemy break through into the lagoon, however, he would face the walls of Braavos. Again, not of stone like other cities, but of ships. The arsenal of Braavos can build one of our famous purple-hulled war galleys in a single day. All the vessels are constructed following the same design, so that all the many parts can be prepared in advance, and skilled shipbuilders work upon different sections of the vessel simultaneously to hasten the labor. To organize such a feat of engineering is unprecedented. One need only look at the raucous, confused construction in the shipyards around the world to see the truth of this. Let us imagine that even the arsenal, great as it is, failed us. An enemy who could defeat both the Titan and our fleet would be strong indeed. But Braavos does not depend only on statues and ships. We also have iron and gold.
So y'all updated y'all little intermission.
Depends on who's asking. To a penitent, they may be relief.
Intermission screens.
To a victim, they may be vengeance. To a lord, they may be an incredible expense. And to the Iron Bank, they may be just another asset. Nobody but the Faceless Men know their origin, though the Order is rumored to predate the founding of Braavos. We know only that they reside in, or are somehow aligned with, the House of Black and White, that odd and lonely building where few who enter ever leave. Some whisper that those werewood doors open not on a house, but onto the world of the dead, from whence the Faceless Men rise when summoned. We can dismiss such foolishness as we do the fishwives who spread it. The House of Black and White is merely a temple, consecrated to the many-faced god, and filled with statuary of his many faces. The old gods of Westeros, the Lord of Light, the Black Goat, the Lion Knight, the Weeping Lady, the Stranger. Perhaps now you understand what is worshipped here, and along with them, other gods whom none alive now recognize, brought here long ago by sailors who never came again. Unlike the priests of other religions, the servants here preach no sermons and perform no ceremonies. As far as one can see, silence and solitude form the whole of their worship, as well as
It'd just be
occasional devotee. If one wants to engage a faceless man, one visits the House of Black and White and pays the price. As for what that may be, those who have paid it rarely speak of it.
yeah.
For make no mistake, from the moment the Faceless Men accept your offer, the man you named is dead, though he doesn't know it. Perhaps not that day, perhaps not that year, but soon. and inevitably. Many would say you are as much his murderer as if you'd swung the axe yourself. Just as many would say, that's the point.
Valyria was young, and as the young do, it sought to spread its seed. Its first daughter was Volantis, an outpost.
Don't add the theme on this song, on this, bruh.
Dragonlords raised the famous black walls, a seamless fused dragonstone 200 feet tall, and so thick that 6 four-horse chariots can race along the battlements side by side, as they do each year to celebrate the founding of the city. To this day, only those who can trace their ancestry back to old Valyria are allowed to dwell within the black walls. None are even permitted to set foot inside without an express invitation of a sign of the old blood, meaning, of course, the ancient and noble blood of foot soldiers. For the city's first 100 years, its only inhabitants were its garrison. But where soldiers go, vice follows. Taverns and brothels began to sprout up outside the black walls, and merchant ships began to call as well, bearing the favored trade of the summer sea, slaves. The East Bank filled with homes, shops, and society, and so the taverns and brothels moved to the West Bank, where foreigners, sellswords, and pirates erected their own shadow city of fornication, drunkenness, and murder. In time, the West Bank became such a cesspit of crime and depravity that the Volantines had no choice but to send their slave soldiers across the Rhine to restore order and some semblance of decency. Like all such missions, they succeeded. They left, then
It went right back.
The Volantines grew weary of shipping their soldiers across the Rhine every year. They built the famous Long Bridge of Volantis, strong enough to support the weight of 1,000 elephants and many more soldiers. The Long Bridge of Volantis stands today as the longest bridge in all the known world. The Volantine rulers intended the bridge to spread the civilization of the East Bank to the west. Instead, the depravity of the West Bank spread east. Shops, temples, taverns, inns, and brothels line the bridge. Most 3 or 4 stories tall, with each floor overhanging the one beneath it. One can buy anything on the Long Bridge, or steal it, if one's hands are quick enough. But if they're not... Though at least half the decor committed no greater crime than displeasing a master. For in Volantis there are 5 slaves for every free man.
Crack City.
A proportion matched only by the cities of Slavers Bay. The Volantine masters mark their property with facial tattoos, permanent and scarring, which denote the vocation of the slave. Slave soldiers wear green tiger stripes upon their faces. Slave whores are marked by tears beneath one eye. The slaves that collect the dung of horses and elephants are marked with flies. The drivers of the hathays, the carts pulled by the small elephants of Volantis, are marked with wheels, and so on. A master may give...
Damn, you get the fucking...
But no man can give a new face.
Damn.
Is it any wonder then?
It's like, bruh, the whore gets a little teardrop, get a little mark. They get half their fucking face. God damn, bruh. Hey, y'all might as well hit up a hound with it, burn your shit. I don't know how it's gonna look after that, but I mean, granted, you ain't going anywhere, but
to the priests who preach of a cleansing fire. The temple of the Lord of Light in Volantis is said to be the greatest in all the world, larger even than the great sept of Baal. All who serve within this mighty temple are slaves, bought as children and trained to become priests, temple prostitutes, or warriors. And one could argue its adherents outside the temple are slaves as well, in mind if not in body. Magic frees nobody, except its practitioner, to do what he will with those who can't. Just as the black walls free the old blood to see what they will. Without those, they don't. But one must wonder how much longer such freedoms will endure. When across Essos, one hears the sound of chains breaking, of slaves rising, of dragons roaring. Volantis may call itself the first daughter of Valyria, but it is not the last.
Dario out here giving
People
intros
love
now?
blood when it's not their own. But tavern brawls are boring, and wars never have good seating. Thus, the famed fighting pits of Marine opened shortly after the city's own founding. And I heard that originally the combats were a blood sacrifice to the gods of Geese, the empire that founded Marine. Some still believe they are, but the Giscari Empire died a long time ago and their gods went with them. Yet the pits remained open, filling the city's purse with gold from the ends of the earth. I suppose the fighting pits are a blood sacrifice after all. Only the gods changed. In the pits, slaves fought each other to the death for fame and glory. And gold for their masters. A lot of gold. Enough for the masters to invest in rigorous training. Slaves were taught to fight like Dothraki screamers, bearded priests of Norgos, iron-born reavers, Westerosi knights, Cohoric hunters, and Lysine pirates. Whatever would excite a crowd. After all, everyone wants to know who is the best. And, of course, who isn't. For the crowds don't come only to see men fight well. I've seen the masters release tigers, lions, and other exotic beasts into the arena to chase.
I was surprised I didn't see that.
Slaves, barely trained,
okay.
if at all. A whore once told me of an amusement in one of the less prestigious pits. One boy was rolled in honey, one in blood, and one in rotting fish. And then a bear was unleashed, and the crowd wagered on which boy the bear would eat first. I never heard who won. Then again, it was obvious. The masters. Did such stories worry me? Of course not. I could fight, and for a good fighter, life was luxurious. Thousands of people chanted his name when he stepped into the pits. He would eat the choicest meats, drink the finest wines, and sleep on exotic furs. Often not alone. Women would fling themselves at him or sneak into his chambers to wait for him after a fight. Foreign princesses, priestesses, even the wives and wayward daughters of masters. He never had to fear punishment. For a great fighter could be worth 300,000 honors. Another wife was always cheaper. And when this renowned fighter finally fell, for all fighters will in time, his name would be inscribed into the gates of fate among the other valiant dead. I remember once trying to count the names. But the gates opened before I finished, and another fight began.
I feel like it's just gonna be over for the Fighting Pit storyline, bruh. That shit could have been something cool. Or something to be more expanded upon.
Spring has come.
I don't even know who said. Okay, cool. Like, I heard your voice and I heard you start talking. I'm like, this does not look like something that you'll narrate.
A young man walks beside a girl across a flowered field. Spring has come, and this girl is his life. He prays. A child climbs a tree to watch the sunset over the fields. Summer is ending, and the harvest is life for his village. He prays. A hunter tracks a boar through the woods. Winter is coming, and this boar is life for his family. He prays. But to whom do they pray? The world has as many answers as there are men to answer. But walk far enough, climb high enough, hunt long enough, and a man shall find only one God, with many faces. In the faith of the Seven, he is the stranger who guides men from this life to the next. Few seek his favor, or at least, few realize that they do. In the north of Westeros, he is one of the nameless old gods, staring out from the weirwood trees and the snow. In the Iron Islands, he is the drowned god, calling men down to his watery hall. What is dead may never die, but rises again, harder and stronger. In the Far East, he is the Lion of Night, who fathered the world's first emperor on the Maiden Maid of Light, and whose wrath nearly ended the world. In Volantis, he is the Lord of Light, whose followers feed men to the flames to beg his favor. In Lys, he is the Weeping Lady, who sheds her tears for the living, soon to die. In Qohor, he is the Black Goat, and he feeds on blood offerings every day. On holy days, he is offered condemned criminals, and in times of great crisis, He may even be offered the noblest children of the city to beg his protection. Does he accept their gift? Well, the city still stands. For the poor, he's the hooded wayfarer. For soldiers, he is Baga, the pale child. For sailors, he's the moon pale maiden and the Merlin king. In the house of black and white, however, he is all of them, and none of them. He is the many-faced god, and wherever a man turns, there he is. Men come from every corner of the world to know him, to beg his favor and seek his gift, for themselves, if their life has grown too hard, or for others who are making it so. It is all the same to the many-faced god. While at Osiris, all men must serve him, beggars and kings.
Hold on, this shit.
While at Morgulis, all men must die, good and evil.
This shit kind of
Men
fire.
worship as they will, but at the end of every road stands the many-faced god, waiting.
That's one storyline that I feel like is actually, like how I said, the fighting pits. I feel like that's gonna be, at least at this point, that's gonna be like over with. The whole many face god thing. Listen, I think it's gonna be explored upon even more, but I feel like they're gonna just keep talking in riddles, bruh. I'm like, it's gonna be a thing of, okay, hear it in history and lore, or no, react to it, hear it in history and lore, edit it and hear it there, and then watch it one more time, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is what you're talking about, my guy. After breaking down 2 riddles to solve the third one, like.